All right, so this revision set 9, we're doing review mode 2. Similar way. So question 31. A company needs to troubleshoot an issue on their serverless application, which is composed of an API gateway, Lambda function, and a DynamoDB database. Which service should they use to trace user requests as they travel through their entire application? So the key thing is that they're trying to troubleshoot an issue on the application, and they need a service that can trace user requests as they travel through their entire application. Which service would do that?
AWS X-Ray.
Okay. Any support or thoughts? Not about the others. Okay, let's check and see if that's correct. So you should know what Inspector is, you should know what CloudWatch is, you should know what CloudTrail is. Yeah, we have seen is correct. If we have seen Inspector, what is Inspector again? What is the key phrase?
Inspector is just scanning. So Inspector is used for scanning AWS resources. Then CloudWatch monitoring, and then CloudTrail giving you a trail on who log in, who do changes.
Yeah, that's correct. So CloudTrail auditing your account, which is the things you are saying. Then CloudWatch monitoring and logging as well. Inspector security, automated security assessment service, looking for vulnerabilities in your workloads, as well as unintended network access. Yeah. So X-Ray then is used by developers, analyze and debug production, distributed applications, microservice architecture, but the key thing is that it provides an end-to-end view of requests as they travel through your application and show a maps of your application's underlying components. So, yeah, it will give you, it's used for debugging. Yeah. All right. No question. I think everyone is okay. Next one. The IT security team of your company needs to conduct a vulnerability analysis on your application servers to ensure that the EC2 instances comply with the annual security IT audit. You need to set up an automated security assessment service to improve the security and compliance of your applications. The solution should automatically assess applications for exposure, vulnerabilities, and deviations from the best practices. Which of the following options will you implement to satisfy this requirement? See Team Lawyer. Some need to conduct a vulnerability analysis of application servers and need to set up automated security assessment service to improve security compliance of your applications.
The AWS Inspector.
Okay. What about the others? Okay, so let's check and see. So that's just what we mentioned, which is why it's very important to know the services. Who knows what WAF is?
WAF is for blocking SQL injections and anything like, yeah, SQL injections, yeah.
SQL injections, that's one thing. What about others or any other thing to add? But what is the full meaning of WAF? Let's start from there.
Web application firewall.
That's correct. And it operates at which layer of the OSI model? You know, which protocol? So it's same when you say web, the web is at which layer? Layer 7, right? So web application firewall is at layer 7 and it's for HTTP traffic. And yeah, so it blocks, as you mentioned, SQL injections, cross-site scripting. That's another thing as well. So web application firewall function at layer 7, HTTP traffic, and helps to look into issues like SQL injections, cross-site scripting. Those are some of the things. Snowball is used for what? Or what is it at all? What's it used for?
And Snowball is a transfer data.
Transfer data, correct. So it's like a device, right? That you can put data in, and it's used, then it's used for migration from on-premises to cloud, where you're using it to transfer data, kind of like not using, yeah, you put, it's like a device that you bring to your data center, connect it and go. And CloudFront.
CloudFront is used for caching.
Correct. Yeah, it's used for caching and helps then reducing latency for usage of the web applications. All right. Any question or worry? So inspector is correct. WAF also help in mitigating DDoS. That's another thing. Yeah, that we can add in WAF. Okay, let's move to the next question. Which of the following policies grant the necessary permissions required to access your Amazon S3 resources? Select 2. So policies that grant necessary permissions to access S3 resources. Select 2.
C and E, object policy and bucket policy.
Okay, object policies and bucket policies. Any different view? Okay, let's check and see. Let's use our policies. So always remember there's no object policy here. It's just a trick in your mind. Because since you have objects in buckets, but if you look, what we have is these things. These, although you see all other options are incorrect, as they are not correct features that will grant permissions to your Amazon S3 bucket. So routing policies need work. So object policies won't do that. Doesn't exist. So always think of a user policy and a bucket policy. Yeah. All right. Next one, the last one. Is that the last one? I think. Yeah, which of the following is a data transport solution that accelerates moving terabytes to petabytes of data into and out of AWS using appliances with onboard storage and compute capabilities? So, data transport solution, we are moving terabytes to petabytes of data in and out of AWS using appliances, onboard storage and compute capabilities. Which one will be that? Last person in team now, yeah.
And AWS Snowball Edge.
Any different view? Okay, let's check that. That's good, that's correct. One key thing that started making this look, when you immediately see onboard storage and compute capabilities, right? If you remember what I shared on our chat on, I'm trying to look at that. Snowball Edge had Snowball Edge options, compute optimize, storage optimize. And it's in the family of it's in the data transfer family. What is Snowmobile? What kind of data is it moving? In how, you know, this one says terabytes to petabytes. Snowball is moving what kind of data?
It's moving a large amount of data from petabyte to exabyte.
Right. That's right. Hundreds of petabytes to exabytes. Yeah. So it's moving very large amounts of data. And Snowcone is moving what kind of data? Up to what amount can Snowcone move data?
And 8 terabyte.
Yeah, sorry, which one do you say? 8 or 80? You are changing your mind. 8 is actually correct.
Eight.
Right. So Snowcone is moving 8 terabytes of storage, right? It has also some compute capabilities and operates in harsh environments from freezing to desert-like conditions, 38 degrees. So you can take Snowcone, take into a very cool environment, and you still be able to transfer data. So it's used in cases where, so you can imagine someone has a small data somewhere, and there's no internet connection that is fast enough to do that. So you just carry this as a box, and you move data. You can move up to 8 terabytes. I think most of you would know what a terabyte is. There are laptops now that comes with 1 terabyte. So imagine having that kind of size. So what I wanted all of you to remember here is, because I know remembering these figures at times has always been challenging. So Snowcone will move up to 8 terabytes, right? Up to 8 terabytes. But then if you want to move data terabytes to petabytes, you then use Snowball Edge. And when you want to move data from hundreds of petabytes to hundreds of petabytes, I say to exabytes, you use Snowmobile. Because at times you may have a situation where you just need to move about 10 petabytes. I say 10, or let's say 5 petabytes. Will you use Snowball Edge or you use Snowmobile, for example?
Edge.
You use Edge. How, and then how will you use Edge? Because you are moving terabytes to petabytes. Okay, what I'm trying to drive to, because maybe I'm not asking the question correctly, you'll see in some cases where because Snowball start using about hundreds of petabytes, right? Let me confirm that's okay. Snowmobile uses tens of petabytes. Okay, I was saying hundreds of petabytes. So what I was trying to say, it says tens, but if you are moving like 5 petabytes, you still use Edge, because you need to, you can use then not just one of these, you can then use 2 or 3 of those. So there are some questions, not many, but just keep in mind that Snowmobile start using from tens of petabytes. So if you're trying to move around 5 petabytes of data, you not use snowmobile, you would instead use like 5 of these then. Yeah, if they will cover. So just know that you start thinking of snowmobile when you are using 10 pet, when you are trying to move 10 petabytes. But also the other problem is, remember, snowmobile is like a big truck and it's not available everywhere in every region. So you must always first check if it's available. If not, then you may be forced to use a series of numbers of snowball edge. Yeah, so just think about that. But let me see. Yeah. So what I have in mind is 100 petabytes. I don't know why. Okay, transfer up to 100 petabytes, right? But it starts from 10 petabytes. But what I wanted to see is I wanted to see what are the other options you have. So each snowmobile can take up to 100 petabytes. So you keep that in mind. But remember that after you always place an inquiry. So how do you get any of these devices? You always place an inquiry. So you go, you logged in, whether you need a snowball, a snow cone, snow ball edge, or you need a snowmobile. You always first send in a request from the console, and then you'll be contacted. All right, so that is, if you can remember all of those things, you will then be able to always answer questions around here. So remember, snowball edge comes with compute and storage capabilities. So if you want to do like some, they always say like some machine learning, just on premises with just this, you can still use snowball edge because that's why it has that compute capability. Yeah. Right, any question? I think I should share this on chat. Okay. Oh, just a moment. I press the back button. I'm on 2. Oh no, we are on 2, right? I know it's annoying. Oh, this one. Yeah.
We are on 2, but I think so. Not time.
Yeah, I press the back button, and the funny thing is with the back button, it takes you to the start. So I think I'll just put ourselves in so much work we'll have to catch up. I wanted to share this. Yeah, we have answered this. Which of the following cloud design principle? Yeah, we had about, I think everyone remember this. So some questions we have answers will come through. It was supposed to go to pause, but since I didn't click that, I was going back to get this. It's taken us completely refreshed, right? So I have no choice than to go through the questions, but because since I need a PDF, so for questions we have answered, we shall be fast. This one was scalability, right? Which of the four, where am I? No, this is time mode. I should go to review mode. Yeah, I should go to review mode. I think it should be. Right, okay. It was review mode, okay. No, that's at least better. Okay, so Yeah, this question is from Maureen. Yeah, so the other one was time mode. So Maureen, this is for you. When a company uses AWS and decouple from their on-premises data center, they will be able to have which of the following benefits? Select two. So when a company is using AWS and decouple from on-premises data center, what benefits come along? Maureen, yeah, if you answer, that's for you.
That is one.
One,
The one and two.
1 and 2. Okay, I hear 1 and 2. What about the others? Any difference for you? I see there's a B and D. Any other view? I see B and D, so let me add T there, and then we check and see. Remember, you are just looking for benefits. A company is using AWS and they are decoupling from their on-premises data center, so they are moving away. So which of the following will benefit? So let's check and see. So it's B and D. Deferred payments to their operational expenditures is not correct, but they reduce time to market. That means it's easy for them to let's say to build the applications that go to the market. When you're in a traditional data center, you always have to order servers, come and work on them before you start installing your applications and then testing them. And then also, if you're in a traditional data center, if your data center is in the US, for example, you always, and if you have customers in Europe, it will still take time, for them to have it because maybe for latency reasons. But when you are using AWS, data centers are all around the world, so you can easily go to the market. But the key thing is that the ease of having EC2 instances running and testing, running your application is faster. So that's reduced time to market. Decrease your TCO. TCO is total cost of ownership. When you're a data center, you own so much hardware that you are at times not even using it, right? So, yeah. So those are some of the things that, that we have here. All right. Next question is for you, Guada. Good morning, welcome. Which of the following actions below, which of the following actions below will allow you to take advantage of volume discounts in AWS? So actions below that will allow you to take advantage of volume discounts in AWS.
I can see. It's AWS organization and AWS.
Any different view? What about others? I see this is supported. So actions below that will allow you to take advantage of volume discounts. Okay, this is supported. And that's correct. When you use the consolidated billing feature in AWS organizations, you get a volume discount. I always want to remind everyone that in AWS organizations, there are two features. What are they? Anyone remembers? You have the consolidated billing feature, and you have another one called all features. And if you use the consolidated billing feature, you always get volume discounts, but you will not have, you'll be able to do security control policies. In order to have, to use the security control policy features, you need to enable the all features. The all features will include the consolidated billing feature and then also the feature on being able to use SCPs, for example. So always remember that in mind about AWS organizations. Okay, I think not much to explain there again. Which of the following are pillars of the AWS well-architected framework? We are back to Timla. We select two pillars of the well-architected framework.
Sustainability and performance efficiency.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Okay, I did not see chat, so sorry, I delayed. So everyone says A and E. Thank you. I see there's that support. So yeah, A and E is correct. So remember, everyone has that. I remember Yolanda saying crops, cost optimization, reliability, operational excellence, performance, security, and then with an S again, sustainability, the one that was added of recent. Thanks, everyone. Next question, Steve or Timla. Well, which of the following provides software solutions that are either hosted on or integrated with the AWS platform, which may include independent software vendors, SaaS, PaaS, developer tools, management, and security vendors? So which provides software solutions that are hosted on integrated with the AWS platform? Similar.
AWS Partner Network Consulting.
Any different view or support? Everyone else is quiet. Software solutions. Let's check and see. So it's Partner. So that I think I was trying to explain this. Each time we see software solutions, I know it can be confusing. There are two, but the one that goes with software is where you see technology partners. When you see software solutions, yeah, think of technology. What is a consulting partner used for? When you are thinking of designing your architecture and building it. So consulting partners help customers of all sizes to design, architecture, migrate, or build new applications on AWS. So consulting partners are helping customers of all sizes, could be small, medium, or large. So consulting partners are when you are thinking of architecting, migrating, or building new applications. Technology partners are providing solutions, and these are integrated in the AWS platform, times through the marketplace. Okay, and they are independent software vendors, and you have all of that. Concierge support is a team composed of AWS billing account experts. This comes at the enterprise support plan, right? And specialize in working with enterprise accounts. We know what technical account manager is. Yeah, if you don't remember, make sure you check this when we share the PDF. Which service will allow you to speed up content delivery to your customers? Team Lawyer. Speed up content delivery.
Amazon platforms.
Okay. I see supported. Now, what is Amazon S3 transfer acceleration? Good one to review. It only applies to S3 object. This service does not integrate with EC2. So it's S3 is used for, I think, replicating data from one region to another. So Amazon S3 transfer acceleration can speed up content transfer to and from S3 by as much as 50 to 500% for long distance transfer of large objects. Customers who have either web or mobile applications with wide phrase users or application hosted far away from their S3 bucket can experience long and variable upload and download speeds over the internet. S3 transfer acceleration reduces the variability in internet routing. Right. It's an object storage. Sorry, yeah. Gonna be. Oh, it takes us to the transform. Let me put this on chat. Yeah, information. All right. Yeah. Which of the following tasks fall under the sole responsibility of AWS based on the shared responsibility model? Sole responsibility of AWS. Now, yeah.
Physical and environmental control.
Okay. Any other support? I see B supported. So remember the sole responsibility. It boils down to this. Please make sure that if you have not yet reviewed all of this, do so before you go to the exam to know what is the controls by AWS, what is shared control, patch management, configuration management, awareness and training are things that are done by the customer and AWS, and what exactly those are. Patch management is, for example, patching the host or operating system by AWS, while customers are patching the guest operating system. Configuration management, what is that again? Very important area. I've shared this a couple of times. So make sure you know that before you go to your exam, those different options. And then the one that is just customer specific is service and communications protection or zone security. Yeah, customer specific. A space agency is using Amazon S3 to store their high-resolution satellite images and videos every day. Which of the following should they do to minimize their upload time? To minimize the upload time. So you are using S3 to store high-resolution satellite images and videos every day. So definitely high-resolution means they are heavy, they are large. So what can you do to minimize the upload time? Still Team Lawil. Is it a tough one?
It's a tough one we are trying to eliminate first.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll take C, upload the image and video using the batch return API.
Okay. I see two people say C, one person says G. So remember, when you see questions like this, you remember, what have we seen? Majority says C, and one says G. So just hold your answers. Let's see which one is correct. No, let's take the majority. So majority is wrong. Actually, you use multi-path upload. That should have was in the S3 model, and multi-path upload is just remember that with multi-path upload, once you start having data above 100 megabyte in S3 to upload, you use multi-path upload. And how it works is that the original object, multi-path upload will split the original object into small parts and then upload them separately. But before the object is arriving at the final destination, is then recollected, all the pieces are collected back, and then it arrives as one full object. I mean, you don't really do the breaking of the object into small parts. You just state that you are using multi-path upload, and it will automatically break your objects to small pieces and then reassemble them back when they arrive. So once you start having object size greater than 1 megabyte, we use this. I don't remember us in batch item. It's a DynamoDB API action. Okay, it's incorrect because this is a DynamoDB API action, and we just mentioned DynamoDB. We didn't go into the details, so it's not in S3. Cross-origin resource sharing is only applicable for client web applications that are loaded in one domain to interact with resources in a different domain. So when you have web applications in one domain and you want them to access resources in a different domain, you use cross-origin resource sharing. S3 intelligent sharing is used to optimize storage cost automatically based on access patterns. Okay, that's fine. Hope everyone remembers what multi-part upload is. Remember the size that you need. Once the size is 100 megabytes, it's advisable to use multi-part upload, and that's how it functions. Not really important to, the details of how it works, but knowing what it is important. So using multi-part upload provides the following advantages: improve throughput, quick recovery from network issues, pause and resume object uploads. So let me add that to chat. That's why we do revision. So that everyone remembers here. So let's go to the next one. Agility is one of the benefits of using cloud computing that provides customers with what advantage? I think that's till now, So when you talk of agility in cloud as a benefit, what is that advantage you are talking of?
We already answered 4 questions, but we'll still answer.
Okay.
Easily deploy your application in multiple physical locations around the world with just a few clicks. Goes
All right.
in a minute.
Okay, no thanks. No worries. We're talking at times I lost count. So that's you say B, any different thoughts or support? Okay. It's agility, right? So let's see. Let's see. Focus your valuable IT resources on developing applications that differentiate your business rather than managing infrastructure and data centers. So that's what agility is listed. Yes. It's always a very tricky part to remember, but I'm happy you have all the benefits are here. So when you are talking of easily deploy your applications in multiple physical locations around the world with just a few clicks, that's surely going to deploy globally in minutes. So when you talk deploy globally in minutes is the case where you are doing that around the world. Agility, as we have said, you focus on resources, developing applications and differentiate your business rather than managing infrastructure and traditional data center. Elasticity, cost savings. In general, what I always say is it's important to know agility, review the literature that is here. Elasticity, review the literature, and be comfortable that you know which one goes to which one. At times you see questions that list agility, deploy, global meanings, elasticity, and cost savings, and then they have all these different meanings at the other end, and then you are supposed to match, right? Which one goes to which. So I know it's tricky. Many students from different batches always struggle with this. So I'll just put this on chat and just encourage you to find some time to look into this and get comfortable with it. Yeah, it's something that you may look a couple of times and then you start seeing how it is, okay? All right, so which of the following are defined as global services in AWS? Select two. That's for Maureen. Global services in AWS, select two.
They are B and E.
B and E. I see A and E. I see two A's and E. Let's check and see. Right, so it's A and E. And global services are IAM, STS, the security token service, Route 53, CloudFront, and WAF. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the 5 global services. At times you see Lambda at edge. Remember, Lambda alone is not enough. It has to be Lambda at edge because it's talking about Lambda functions that are operating right at the edge. If you say Lambda alone, it will not be correct. So IAM, STS, Route 53, CloudFront, and WAF, these are global services. EC2 and EBS volumes are zonal services. And if a service is not found here, then it's a regional service. So the best way to remember is to know these 5 as global services and know these 2 as zonal services. And then any other service is then a regional service. So RDS here will be a regional service. Batch will be regional. DynamoDB will be regional. Yeah. Good. Let's move to the next one. Which of the following is typically used to secure your VPC subnets? That's for you, Adam.
D.
Secure your VPC subnets. You said A.
I said D.
D. Okay, sorry. So I see D supported. Let's see. So network control is for VPC subnets. Security group is for what service? Where will you use security groups?
EC2.
EC2 instance, yeah. Yeah, who remembers, who can say what AWS config is used for?
To monitor changes in configuration.
Yes, it monitors changes in configuration. That's one thing. In your configuration of resources, that's one thing. Any other point? So audit, access, monitor changes in configuration. That's okay. And then compliance in your account. But that's correct. Yeah, monitor changes in configuration. Okay. It's a very good service to know. And there's a nice YouTube video that focuses on this. I shared that some sessions ago, I can't remember. Yeah, so we're coming back to Team Lawi. A company plans to migrate their on-premises MySQL database to Amazon RDS, right? So they are migrating their on-premises MySQL database to Amazon RDS. Which service should they use for this task? So when you are migrating on-premises MySQL database to Amazon RDS, which service should you use?
AWS Database Migration Service.
Okay. Any thought? What about others? SCC supported. Okay, let's check and see. That's correct. I think it's important to know what AWS Glue is. It is a service of preparing, moving, and integrating data from multiple sources for analytics, machine learning, and application development. Please make sure that you remember that when you want to prepare moving and integrating data, because for people doing analytics and machine learning, when you have data, you always have to, like, for example, prepare it, right? So you may have lots of data, but it's not in a form that you want. So you first prepare it to be in a certain format that you want. So a service to help you do that is AWS Glue. So it helps you to prepare data. It will help you to move the data and then integrate the data from multiple sources for analytics and that. So try to remember this. Yeah, it's also a service that is common in the exams at times. Schema conversion tool. I hope everyone now understands why we need a schema convention, right? Because we did discuss about different database engines, and you know a database engine is just a way data is being represented. So the reason why I have Oracle will have its own schema, MySQL will have its own schema, MariaDB will have its own schema, and you know those are all database engines. And if you are moving from an Oracle database to a MySQL database, then you need a AWS schema conversion tool to change that representation of data. Yeah. Okay. Which AWS service is commonly used for streaming data in real time? This is now questions from the data analytics that we didn't do.
Amazon.
Yeah, go ahead, Amazon.
Genesis.
Okay. Any other person? I see A is supported. Okay, let's check and see. That's correct. I felt guilty there because we didn't, that was supposed to be done under the data analytics topic, which we unfortunately didn't cover. But that's good to know. You recognize that. We did talk about data pipeline yesterday, right? I hope everyone remembers what that is. And EMR is common now. So data pipeline helps you move data between different AWS compute and storage services, as well as on-premises data sources at specified intervals. OpenSearch is a service used mainly for deploying, operating, and scaling OpenSearch clusters in AWS Cloud. EMR is a data warehouse. Yeah. Which of the following AWS cost management tools enable you to forecast future cost and usage of your AWS resources based on your past consumption?
AWS Cost Explorer.
Yeah, I hear T, Cost Explorer. Any other thought? Okay, T is supported. Nice. Amazon Focus is just there to distract you. It's a fully managed service that uses machine learning to deliver highly accurate forecasts of any time series data, such as retail demand, manufacturer demand, travel demand, revenue, IT capacity, logistic, and web traffic. So it's a service for used by machine learning to deliver forecast. That's what Amazon Focus is. Which of the following is a valid characteristics of an IAM group? So when we talk about an IAM group, what is that? Still for Teamloril, right?
A.
The phone is off.
A group can contain many users, and a user can belong to multiple groups.
Okay. I see that supported. Let's check and see. That's correct. So that's from the IAM module on our lecture. Which of the following is a fully managed database in AWS that can be used to store JSON documents? We are storing the JSON documents.
Amazon DynamoDB.
All right. Okay, that's one characteristics of DynamoDB. JSON documents fall under what kind of databases? There are generally two types of databases. Relational and non-relational, right? Aurora is a relational, you can store JSON documents. What is Amazon Elastic Cache used for? Anyone can explain? It's an in-memory database, right? In-memory, that's the key thing. And there are two types of them, fully managed Redis and Memcache. And so in-memory means that in-memory database and in-memory caching service for different databases. So it's used by, for example, Amazon RDS for caching. So we see CloudFront we are using when we are talking about applications right at edge, but when you are trying to do some caching for your database, because the reason is there are some queries that are, let's say in a database, relational database, some queries may be sent to the database often, right? So those database, and each time you send a query, the database has to run some compute and then deliver the results. And at times, if you have queries that are often asked, then it's good to use Elastic Cache so that when someone asks or sends a request for a particular query and the response is got, then it can also be kept in the cache. So that if someone else is immediately asking for that particular query again, sending that similar request, then it will just be given from the in-memory will be sent to the person rather than the database running another compute operation to get the result. So that's why we need in-memory cache, because you may have many people sending requests for a particular query and it will be putting so much load on the database. And the way to optimize that is to have a caching mechanism. This time it's in memory, so that requests that are always asked often are then cached there. So that's what Elastic Cache basically is, in-memory caching. Which service does AWS use to notify you when AWS is experiencing events that may impact you? A service that AWS will use to notify you when AWS is experiencing events that may impact you. That was done in the monitoring. And there were two types of them. I think it's still TeamLaway, right?
Amazon CloudWatch. These are our 6-time ranks already.
How come? Did I forget the others? CloudWatch, what about the others? Okay, let's see.
AWS Health.
Yeah, AWS Health. It should be AWS Health. There are two of them. You have, when experiencing events that impact you, you use AWS with Health. And the other one is the
there is personal health. So when I didn't see personal health dashboard, I thought maybe it will be CloudWatch monitoring, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So just remember when when AWS wants to notify you about the personal dashboard is the one that is for it's different. It's not the same as AWS Health. Personal dashboard, this is for experience events that may impact you, right? But the personal dashboard, this the one that talks about the personal AWS Health dashboard, and then you have the AWS. There are always two of them, right? Let me see. The AWS Health dashboard is the single place to learn about availability and operations of AWS services. You can view the overall status of AWS services, and you can sign in to view personalized communications about your particular AWS account or organization. So that's the difference here. That's the personal health dashboard. Okay, it takes me back here. Frequently asked questions. Yeah, so I will say go back to the monitoring model and look at the differences between that, so that I'm trying to pick that I can see immediately. Yeah, but there are two, but in this case it was the health dashboard. Which of the following is a threat detection service that continuously monitors for malicious activity and unauthorized behavior to protect your AWS accounts and workloads? That's for Maureen.
Amazon.
Sorry, I can't hear you well. It's
Amazon.
okay, Amazon Guard Duty. I see that's supported. That's good. What is AWS Shield used for? When you see AWS Shield, what comes to mind?
DDoS attack.
Yes, that's correct. Once you see Shield, DDoS attacks. So it protects you against that. Nice. A customer needs to establish a dedicated connection between their on-premises network and their AWS VPC that provides a more consistent network experience than internet-based connections. Which of the following network service should they use? That's for you, Bada. So you want to provide a consistent network experience than internet-based. And you're establishing a dedicated connection.
AWS Direct Connect B.
B. What about the others? Any thought? Everybody's in silent. Let's see. That's correct. So when you need, or each time you see dedicated connection, consistent network experience, because with dedicated connection, you can have up to 100 gigabytes. It starts with 10 gigabytes transfer and goes up to 100 gigabytes. But when you use a VPN connection, it is not consistent and you'll always require the internet. So VPN connections, and they go to about 1.2 gigabytes. So in questions where you immediately see establishing a dedicated connection, think of an AWS Direct Connect, yeah? I hope that helps. And when you are then using the VPN, You always have a virtual private gateway and a customer gateway, and then you need internet to connect these things. So in the customer, you have what you call a customer gateway on AWS Cloud. You have a virtual private gateway, and the connection then will be a VPN between the two, but it will require internet. Okay. The customer is building a cloud architecture in AWS which should scale horizontally or vertically in order to automatically adjust capacity and maintain steady state predictably performance at the lowest possible cost. Which of the following statements are true regarding horizontal and vertical scaling? Select two. So I'll do Maureen and Guaida again before I come to Tim Lawe. So Maureen, this is for you. Which statements are true regarding horizontal and vertical scaling? Select two.
There are still struggling to break down the possible answers.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you well. I don't know why. Which ones are those you picked? Maybe you say the letters A, B, C, D, or E. All right, if possible.
A,
A,
B,
A and B. Okay. What about the others? A and B. Okay. A and B. Upgrading to a higher EC2 instance type is an example of horizontal scaling. Adding more EC2 instance to your resource pool is an example of vertical scaling. You all got it the other way around. When you add more EC2 instance to your horizontal pool, it is horizontal scaling. And I remember, but when you upgrade an EC2 instance, it's a vertical scaling. So all of you are thinking the other way around. So just remember this diagram here, I'll share it. So vertical scaling is when you have an EC2 instance, for example, a T2 micro or any EC2 example, let's just say it has 2 GB of RAM and is using one virtual CPU. If you increase the RAM to 4, from 2 to 4, you are vertically scaling, you are making it bigger. So when you increase the size of the instance, it's vertical scaling. So if you have an EC2 instance, it has one virtual CPU and 2 GB of RAM. If you increase it to 4, the RAM to 4, it becomes bigger, and increase the virtual CPU to 2, so it becomes a bigger instance. That's vertical scaling. But if instead you decide to add another EC2 instance with one vCPU and 2 GB, so you have now 2 instances, each of them with 2 GB of RAM and one that's horizontal scaling. So horizontal scaling means adding more resources because it's going on the horizontal direction, you are adding and going, while vertical scaling means upgrading your current resource. Right, so since all of you got this wrong, please review this diagram and really commit that to memory. All of this will explain it. So that was a good exercise. Yeah. Hope you remember that then. Okay, good. Let's move to the next one. A company wants to launch a Microsoft SQL Server database in AWS. The database instance should only be managed by the company's DBA and must be accessible through RDP. A standard license for SQL Server is required, but the company is not yet sure how many CPU and memory to allocate to the database. So, which option gives the most convenient and flexibility to determine the best database size while still being cost effective? That should be for Wada.
T.
T.
Yeah, T.
Yes. Any thought support? Okay, I see T is supported. All right, that's good. That's correct. So I'll leave that. I'll share the PDF and everyone will see if you doubt. Which of the following is one of the benefits of migrating your systems from an on-premises data center to AWS cloud? So we are back to Tim now here. So I know by 59 I'll stop for you people. So benefits of migrating your systems from an on-premises data center to AWS cloud.
C. Enable the customer to focus on business activities rather than on the heavy lifting of ranking, stacking, and powering servers.
Okay. I see that's supported. That's fine. Good. Looks good. Thank you. Yeah. These are also, remember the advantages of using cloud computing. I mean, I always get it at times very, how these things are. You have advantages and you have benefits. So just make sure that you see, we have talked about the benefits which have agility, scalability, and all the rest. But then there are advantages as well, and they all have different meanings. So look at that as well. Which of the following is the most cost-effective payment option when you purchase either a standard or a convertible reserve instance for a 1-year term? Most cost-effective payment option.
All upfront.
All upfront. I see everyone support that, right? So I'm sure we're all comfortable with that one. In Amazon EC2, which pricing construct adjusts its price based on supply and demand of EC2 instances? Still Tim Lau, yeah.
On demand instance.
Okay, here we go.
What about the others? I see A supported. Pricing construct adjusts its price based on supply and demand of EC2 instances. Is it the on demand that is making you people think it's on demand? It's not on demand for sure. It's D. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's D. You are adjusting your price based on supply and demand of EC2 instances. And on-demand instances, when you just take an instance when you need it, but remember, spot instances always come from the situation where there's a lot of, if it happens that many people are not using EC2 instances from AWS, then there's a lot of instances that are lying, or there's a lot of capacity that is lying that you can use to create instances that is currently not in use. And then AWS will then offer that at a very discount rate. And the more people use that unused resource that is based on demand, the more people use it now, the price, the discount will change, right? And it's possible that AWS will take it at any time. So spot instances is always described as its pricing structure. Remember, we're talking about which pricing construct. It is a pricing construct. It will depend on how much of that unused capacity is available. So please make sure that you get that. I don't know how I can explain that, but yeah, the pricing for spot instances, the price will vary depending on how much capacity is lying on unused in AWS. So that's how the price will vary, right? And the more that capacity is used, the higher the price. And if you have so much capacity that is lying, the cheaper the price of spot instances. So it's not talking about on demand there. Okay, but for on demand, you know, the pricing is either per hour or per second. So it doesn't, you know, it doesn't vary. Yeah. All right. I thought that was a first one, but yeah, good. We did that now, and everyone will hopefully remember. A customer currently has a basic support plan, and they are planning to use the infrastructure event management, well-architected reviews and operations reviews in AWS. What should they do in order to access these features in the most cost-effective manner? That's still Tim Lau, yeah? So if you have your basic support plan, but then you want infrastructure environment, well-architected reviews and operations, which support plan should you upgrade to? That's what the question is asking.
Since the basic is already having access to it here, the customer should just upgrade to the closest one. Since they are also talking about cost effective, we should go to developer. Oof, that one is tricky.
Developer, I see A is mentioned. It's twice. Enterprise support plan. So let's see if that's correct. So it's enterprise support plan. So actually it's not developer, because remember, these are the key characteristics you are looking for: infrastructure, event management, well-architected reviews and operation reviews. So the first thing you should be asking is, where do you find those in the support plan? And you see that infrastructure event management is present in enterprise. On enterprise on RAM, it will be on a fee. On support on business, it will also be for an additional fee, but it's been stated that you just want infrastructure event management. So this here, and the other thing is, We are looking for well-architected reviews and operation reviews. So access to proactive reviews, workshops, and deep dives. You see, that is not present either on enterprise, on RAM, or on business. An operations review, I think, should be somewhere here. But the key thing here is access to proactive reviews, infrastructure, environment management, and then access to proactive reviews. So it still falls back to knowing this table, knowing what comes where and what doesn't appear here. Yeah. So it's not, yeah, you notice developer doesn't have any of those. Okay. Last question for Timna. What is the most secure way to provide applications temporary access to your AWS resources? Keyword is temporary access to AWS resources. Yeah, or key phrase, provide applications temporary access to your AWS resources. What will you need?
Secure way to provide.
Oh, yeah.
Create an IAM rule and have the application assume the rule.
Okay, I see that's supported. Right, it's B. That's correct. IAM rule. So provide applications temporary resources service IAM rule. We have 5 questions to go. I'll leave them open. So if anyone sees the answer, please let me know. There's an incident with your team where an S3 object was deleted using an account without the owner's knowledge. What can be done to prevent unauthorized deletion of your S3 objects? So an S3 object was deleted using an account without the owner's knowledge, yeah? And you want to prevent that, what will you do?
Configure MF multi-factor authentication. That is B.
Okay, I hear B. Any ideas, support? Okay, I have my. Right, so let's check and see. And that's correct. That's MFA delete. I know we came across that sometimes. So if you don't remember, check the notes when we share. You see, there's actually the option to do so. Which of the following should you use to automatically transfer your infrequently accessed data in your S3 bucket to a more cost-effective storage class? You want to automatically transfer your infrequently accessed data in your S3 to a more cost-effective storage class. What will you use? It is open. It's an open question. Anyone can answer. I see someone says D. I hear B. What about Tim Lawir?
Lifecycle policy.
Okay. So 2 people say B. So it's lifecycle policy. So lifecycle policy is just a configuration that helps to move, that you can configure to say data to transition from one storage class to another. So I'm just thinking where I can show an example. At times when people see that they remember creating a lifecycle configuration. Okay, I can see an example of a lifecycle. But just remember, life cycle is what you use. It's a configuration that helps transition storage objects from one storage class to another. Which of the following is not required when launching an EBS back EC2 instance? Who will first see the answer? Not required when launching.
A.
I hear A.
Elastic IP address A2 supported.
Okay, thank you. So that comes when creating an EC2. Which of the following is the benefit of using Amazon Relational Database Service over traditional database management? Which of the following is the benefit of using Amazon Relational Database Service over traditional database management? No one has seen the answer yet.
C. Lower administrative burden through automatic software patching and maintenance of the underlying operating system.
Thank you, brother. So I see that's supported. That's correct. So that's benefit of using RDS. All right. Next question. I'm just trying to catch for time, and I also have something I have to step to. So we have two questions. Which of the following cloud-based practices reinforces the use of the service-oriented architecture design principle? Let's see who'll get that one also. A best practice that reinforces service-oriented architecture design principle. We did explain that some time ago. I hear C. I was expecting everyone to shout on that. It's C. So remember, service-oriented just means rather than having a big monolithic application, you break that into small components and each one is doing its own service, right? It's a service on its own. And then you can scale and do high availability on each of them. Decoupling components, as we said last time, you have a database trying to send information to an EC2, so it's the same thing. So you are focusing on small, on services rather than a big monolithic application or component, Okay, the last question. In compliance with the Sarbanes-Oxley Act federal law, a US-based company is required to provide SOC and SOC 2 reports of all their cloud resources. Where are these AWS compliance documents located? Everyone should shout the answer.
B.
Yeah, what about Larry? Tim Larry, what is the answer as well?
I want to see.
You said C? You are looking to get SOC and SOC 2 reports. Where will you find AWS compliance documents?
Oh.
I don't have an answer with O. What are you saying?
I said AWS artifact.
Okay, yeah. AWS artifact. Okay, good. So please remember, don't always be misled by, I know maybe US-based company, someone may be thinking, okay, it's Gulf, US, yeah. So always try to, so just again, in summary, from what I've noticed, most of you answer some questions that are difficult that I would think that will be difficult. But then there are some questions that I think that, I mean, I think will be simple, and then some of you still get it wrong. So my advice is, again, please take this seriously. Never hurry in answering a question. And as you notice, this is how your exam can also look like. You may start your exam and you have the first 10 questions and they are difficult. Don't try to answer one question after the other. You need to have at least, say, 55 to 56 questions to pass, correct? So you must not answer all questions correctly. You need 70%. I know I always set a higher level, but strive on having at least 56 answers correct. That means if you don't have 9, you still pass. And so the first 9 questions could be the difficult questions. And if you start the first question and it's difficult and you just sit on it and you are trying to get the answer and you are not very sure, and you struggle with it, you move to the second question, it's difficult, you are trying to think until you want to figure out what's the answer. That kind of answering method always demoralizes you because you start feeling the exam is difficult. And exams in general are already stressful. And when you are feeling in an exam that you are writing a difficult exam, it affects your performance as well. So when you go to the exam, if you read the first question and you cannot just feel like this is the answer, move to the next question, right? You can move to questions. So you move to the second question. If you feel like you don't know the answer, just keep moving, because you may, and until you start seeing the very simple questions, right? So when you answer those simple questions, that should be like the first 30 minutes or first 30 minutes. You go through all the questions, right? You answer all of them. Then you come back and you start answering those that, you start going through the questions again. But this time now, the one you answer, maybe it was difficult, but then you answer now and you are sure, oh, there was a trick here. I really see it. Yeah, it should be AWS WAF. You click that, you are sure. Then you answer the next one. You go to the next one. Maybe you realize that you are still not yet sure. Then you flag it, right? And then you move through all the questions that you have not answered. The ones that you are sure, again, you answer them. The ones that you are not sure, you flag it. And you do that maybe for the next 30 minutes. So by the end, you end at 65, you will have answered simple questions, you will have answered some, and then you have flagged some. Then you spend now the remaining 20 minutes. Most of you, if you did an additional 30 minutes, you have 90. So you spend the remaining 20 minutes looking at the questions that you did flag. You know, those are the ones that you need a little bit of time to really figure out which one is correct. So please don't go and try to answer one question, second question, and then and then finish at question 65 when, you know, the whole time you will make it stressful for yourself, and you may miss some important ways. Go through by 30 minutes, you should have gone through all the questions, highest. And then another 30 minutes, you have gone the second time. And then the remaining 20 minutes, you are just looking for the ones you have. If you have the accommodation time, which gives you another extra 30 minutes, then you have enough time to look into all of that. And you're always looking at your time, because in the exam, time always goes very fast, right? So that is the general principle. And then please, for the questions that you are still struggling with, or areas where you realize that you are having mixed feelings, we did talk about snow cone today, snowball edge, and snowmobile. You should be able to, you know, see and then know exactly which one should apply. Multi-part upload, I was expecting everyone would get that, but it didn't come through. So make sure you go back and look at that. Same with horizontal and vertical scaling, you know. So yeah, so go back to some of those things, apart from looking at the revision material, look into the sessions that we have. So look at the videos, look at the notes, and try to have that before going to the exam. Make sure that you really go through the well-architected framework, the last section we had, to know the different, what they are and what that means. When you say security in well-architected framework, what does that mean? Same as I've said about trusted advisor and all the different components, right? So yeah, so if you do all of that, you will definitely be fine. We'll do revision mode 3 on Friday and Sunday, but some of you are already taking the exams. So yeah. Yeah, good luck to all of you preparing. And any questions or worries? Let me stop recording.